Yo, what is up guys, Ashley's Gaming back with another video, and it is 2024 and that means a new year for Dofus. But before we start diving into the new year, we're gonna have to start looking back a little bit and just have a look at all of the updates that have happened over 2023. If you are a new player or a returning player and you want to know what has happened while you were gone, then this is the video for you basically, because I will be going over some of the major updates that have happened in 2023, and this is quite important information because a lot has changed and some big changes as well. So before I will start going over the changes, it is important to mention that Ankama has plans to release Unity in 2024. I made 2 videos regarding the Unity updates this year. I will link them in the description below, so if you want information about that, check out those links. Now, this year, Ankama said they didn't want any major content updates like they did in 2022, so they focused on revamping a lot of things, and we will go over that in a second. But yeah, at the end of 2022, we had the new island and the Forge Lands update. A lot of content at the end of 2022. We didn't get that in 2023, obviously, because they are focusing on Unity. Now, we did get some revamps like the Alliance revamp, the Colosseum revamp, some major class revamps, as well as the complete overhaul of the idols and challenges. So I will discuss that in this video, and I will also link below the links of the dev blogs, the change logs, and all that kind of stuff. So if you want to go more in depth and to read more about this, check the links in the description below. And yeah, let's go into this video. So like I said, these are, by the way, if you don't know where to find this, if you go to the official Dofus website, you go to news, then you have all devs blogs, but you also have all updates and the change logs. I go to the change log section. These are all the major updates. So if you can see here, they have the dates and the years. Ankama basically does 3 major updates every single year. For 2022, it was basically the, let's see, the Evil Forest update, where they added Helmina, completely revamped the entire area. I think they did expeditions at the end of the year, and then the Forge Lands update. I'm not going over the Osetopia changes because that's not part of the actual game. So let's go over the first major update in 2023, which is the Alliance revamp. So I don't really PvP that much, so the Alliance revamp wasn't that much of a huge update for me. You can read about this if you do like a lot of Alliance stuff, like 5v5 Perceptor fights and all that kind of stuff, because they completely revamped the Perceptors as well. You can now control them, they have spells, you can upgrade them. There's a lot of things that might be interested to you, so if you want to read more about this, go to the link in the description below. But what is more important to me is the Incarnations revamp. So Ankama, in this update, they basically changed all the incarnations. So like before, for those of you who don't know, incarnations were like these weapons that would change you into like a monster, like yeah, something at least, and you could fight as that monster, and you would basically have the stats of your set that you would at that point wear. Now, this might not seem that important, but people actually used the incarnations for certain quest fights. For example, if you're doing the Felbis Dofus quest line, you would there was like this dragon fight that was pretty hard, like versus 4 of these dragons, I think, and pretty much every single class except for maybe an Iop or a Feka, which have shields and lifesteal, every single class had trouble with that, and they couldn't beat it. So people would go and use the I think it was the Cabot incarnation. They would go with a full chance set and then stay like close combat and heal in area of effect. So people used incarnations for quest fights, and in this update, Ankama changed the incarnations and they changed them to become sidekicks. Just like you had the Astrop Knight before, sidekicks have been around for a long time, but all incarnations got changed to sidekick. Old sidekicks, I think, got revamped as well, and they also added new sidekicks. So yeah, this update They wanted to get rid of incarnations. They made like all new content regarding the sidekicks, like a whole new tab and information, all that kind of stuff. So there's all this kind of sidekicks that you can get. They all have special abilities, and like there are certain groups. And with this update, they also, because there's not a lot of information on the actual website here, but they also made sidekick achievements. So for every single dungeon in the game, not for every single dungeon, there's actually a group of dungeons. So a part of all of the dungeons in the game, they have a sidekick achievement. And for that, you have to complete the dungeon using a sidekick. But it has to be a specific sidekick from a specific group. And the groups are explained in-game. When you go to the sidekick section, you can see which sidekicks to use for every single dungeon. Now, how to obtain the sidekicks is explained in depth on the Dofus Noobs website, which, if I remind myself, I could also link in the description below. There's going to be a lot of links in the description in this video, I guess. But some sidekicks you can get by questing, some you can buy from NPCs, like the Colosseum ones. You can also buy them by exchanging resources to NPCs. But if you are new to this right now, you want to get these sidekicks, you might have, it might be better for you to just have a look at the market, because most of these sidekicks are actually at the moment just cheaper to just buy from the market instead of buying resources to trade to NPCs or anything like that. Even the Colosseum ones, which are the most expensive ones, because I think they are like 50 or no, I think 20,000 Colo tokens, if I recall correctly. But yeah, probably market is a lot cheaper because most people, including me, used these sidekicks to complete the achievements. And besides that, we don't really use these sidekicks. If you are like a solo account player, these sidekicks could be really nice to help you with fights. And I will do a little jump to one of the later updates in the year. Because Ankama also did another update later in the year where they changed pretty much all of the solo quest fights that will now allow you to have a sidekick. So solo quest fights like the Paragon, you're now allowed to use a sidekick, so that's pretty nice, because of the incarnation change, of course. And they also did some changes where you can now control NPCs of the quest fights, which we might go over later in this video again. But yeah, that's the first update in 2023. The second major update, and this was a big one, like probably the biggest one of the year, July 4th, 2023, Challenge Without Idols. Ankama removed idols. After nearly 10 years, they removed them. I think they got added in 2014, I think. But yeah, idols have been removed. They will not come back. I don't think so, at least. The reason for the idol removal is basically, Ankama said they wanted to remove them because the idols were not as intended to be, basically. So this is actually French, so we're gonna translate this to English. People were abusing sidekicks, using the most optimal ones, like the combinations. I think the idols have been changed over the past years, like the synergies and all that kind of stuff. But people are always optimizing, using a combination that basically gives no negative effects if you play a certain composition with certain classes. For example, in Nidus, they pretty much used a comp. If you get hit, you instantly die. But then they play like a triple Kra and MP reduction Enutroph, and they don't get hit. So basically, the idols don't have an effect. But you do get the benefits of like the 500% XP boost or drops. Like Ankama didn't want that anymore, especially with the amount of generated resources in the game. They wanted to change this. So they removed the idols. And what they basically did is they revamped, added, and changed all of the challenges in the games. So basically what they did is they challenges that were like pretty hard and all that kind of stuff, they removed them, they revamped some and added some new ones. And what is currently in the game is basically when you start a fight, the person who started the fight has the option to choose between two challenges. And the challenges are still generated randomly, but you can choose you can choose one. If you're doing dimensional fights or dungeon fights where you have 2 challenges, you have the first option, like the first challenge, you get an option between 2, then it jumps to the second challenge and you have an option of 2 again. So basically you can choose between 4 challenges, which is really, really nice. They also bumped the percentage of drops in XP a little bit over the past months. And then I think last month they reduced it a little bit again. So I think now it is at a pretty stable spot for the challenges. So it kind of looks like this. If you start the fight, you can choose the challenge, and then it also shows the bonus. So you know that one challenge is going to give you, for example, a 200% bonus and the other one is going to 60. So you might go for the 200% one, even though it's a little bit harder. But this makes it like a lot better for questing, like where you have to do drops or like XPing. With the removal of the idols, you basically lose a lot of XP, of course. But if you can choose your challenges, there's a bigger chance of you completing the challenges, which will in the end give you more XP as well. On top of that, in 2022, they did the anomaly update. Basically, if you are fighting in a area with an anomaly, you're gonna get a 150% XP or drop bonus. And you also, like, before it actually reaches 150%, the area increases in percentage. So you could be fighting in an area with like 60, 70, 80, 100% XP bonus, which will make up for the removal of the idols. So if you are a returning player and you think like, oh my god, the idols have been removed, I don't want to play this game anymore, don't worry, the XP, like the XP, it did go down a little bit, of course, but it's not too bad. Like, you can still, honestly, if you're like an old school player and you want to make a new account, new character, you can still get level 200 in a week. But like I said before, for new players or returning players, if you want to just actually enjoy the game, you don't even need to XP grind, to be honest, and the removal of idols will not affect you. In this update, they also changed the resource gains for achievements, and only the dungeon-specific ones, the boss ones. So basically, before, when you did an achievement of any kind of boss, you would get 10 resources of that boss. People were actually making new teams, completing a lot of dungeons, and generate a lot of resources in the game. So Ankama basically said, no, we don't want this anymore. We're gonna change this. So they changed it from 10 to 2 resources per achievement. So you can still get some resources, but they changed it. But you might think, oh my god, this is bad. But no, because they also changed the recipes of all of the items in the game that have boss resources from, I think, 10 to 4, if I recall correctly. It might be 2, but I think it's 4. So they not only did they reduce the amount of resources you get from the achievements, but they also reduced the recipe cost, basically. So items in the game actually have gotten cheaper. If you're new to the game, returning player, items have gotten cheaper. Now it is maybe a little bit harder to make kamas, but because the items have gotten cheaper as well, it doesn't really matter. It's still about the same. Anomalies, I think they change some of the ways of the XP curve there as well. So let's see if there's anything more about this update. Otherwise, we will continue to the next one. Yeah, so they did the idols, but they also did some major class overhaul. So like I said, this was probably the biggest update of the year. So let's actually translate this. So we have the full overhaul revamped Aniripsa, which after this update got a lot of changes as well. So if you want the actual updated version of the Aniripsa, you might just want to check the game, log in and see what has changed. But they changed like the conies, like vials. Aniripsa can do a lot more now. Now, in short, if you've played an Aniripsa before, like a lot, and you want to know like what the major Aniripsa changes are, is basically they nerfed the buffing aspect a little bit. You can now only choose to buff AP or power, and not power and AP at the same time. So that's like a big nerf, but they did increase the versatility and the damage a lot. So Aniripsas are actually a very good class for solo PvM plays, and in team you can do a lot more as well, besides just healing and buffing. So that's really good, but the only downside is you cannot go with the power and AP buff at the same time because they don't stack, basically. They did improve each elemental build as well, so if you want to read that, check the link in the description below. They also changed the Ujinex as well, but the major Ujinex update will come at the end of the year, so it's not really special. It was majorly like the Aniripsa revamp. Now, we jump to the next update of the year, which was last month, December 11th, Liar of the Legends, which was the major Colosseum update. Now, if you are really into PvP and you're like an old school Colosseum player, I don't know, then this is the update for you. You might want to have a look and read about this. What they did is, first of all, they changed some of the matchmaking things. I think if you're below level 200, even though your rating is high, you cannot go against a level 200 anymore. They also added a 2 versus 2 fight. So you can now do 1v1, 2v2 and 3v3. And you can choose between solo queuing and multi-queuing as well. So full dev block over here. Let's actually translate it again. Let's scroll through it a little bit quicker because there's a lot of information here. They did some what's it called? They did some questions to the community what they want to see. So they changed matchmaking, player separation, 2v2 mode. So they did add seasonal achievements. These achievements will not give you achievement points, but it's basically also a battle. It's like a battle pass, pretty much. So if for every win in 1v1, you're gonna get 1 token. For a win in a 2v2 match, you're gonna get 2, and a 3 for a 3v3 if you win, of course. With the tokens, you can buy cosmetics from the battle pass. Basically, it looks like this in game, pretty much. They also added a new NPC. Or wait, actually the NPC was already there, but they added new pebbles. So basically, with the change of equipments, all of the equipments of level 150 to 190 now are containing a new pebble. So not the sparkling pebble anymore, but a new pebble, which will make the equipments a bit cheaper, which is good for new players because equipments from level 150 to like 190, like 90% of the price of the recipe was pebble. So changing this to like a lower pebble, which is now I think 500 cola tokens, is a lot better. So you still have the ornaments, and at the end of each season, the top 3 will get a stage in the Colosseum Temple, which is really nice as well. They did some, I think, NPC stuff. I don't know. And this is also a major update of set bonus changes. Now, this is just an example of 2 sets bonuses, like the Nomero and the Seacloud set, which the Nomero has gotten a slight nerf. The Seacloud gotten a big nerf, buff, actually. Now, the beta actually lasted for 3 weeks. They've been changing this from day to day to day to day. And in the end, they pretty much changed every single set bonus. I think from all equipments. I know from at least 150 to 200. They might change some below 150, but they changed every single set bonus of all of the equipment from level 150 to level 200. Basically making some sets a lot better, while others like Treadfast, Nomero has gotten a slight nerf because they are so popular. But look at the Seacloud, for example, they got like a 12% crits, a lot of damage, a lot of stats. That's really nice. A lot of sets that were never being used are now actually being used. So if you like playing around with different sets, then you might have to have a look at the new set bonus changes. And I think there is... Okay, so if you want, if I remember, I can link it in the description below. If I forget about it, go check out my 2.70 update video that I did last month. Go to the description in the below. I think I did a video where it says additional info, and there is a link which I try to remember to link here, and that link will have all of the set bonus changes. Basically, it is in French, but you can translate the page to English. The only thing that's not really translated is the spell names, but you can maybe like look around it a little bit. But yeah, Colosseum update, set bonus changes. And they also added a new Dofus. For this Dofus, you actually need to have completed all of the other Dofus quests, 6 out of 6, and all of Eliocalypsis, which is about 400 quests. So this is not for new players, but for players who completed pretty much all of the game. The new Dofus is pretty nice, gives 2 range. For every MP that you've used, you gain 8 power for 2 turns stackable, 20 times or a maximum of 160 power. And if you don't use your MP in the turn, you're gonna get healed for 10% of your HP. So the overall, so it's all level 150 to 200 set bonuses. They also did a lot of class balancing. Ujina got nerfed. Kra got a complete overhaul, which I did make a video as well last month. So check that out if you want to see more about the Kra. I think in this update they actually managed to do more class balancing than the other update we got this summer. But yeah, Funaroshi Dungeon has been simplified. New patch mounts, which stats have been added to the game. NPCs in quest fights are now controllable, including the most famous dogfight. What's it called? Slobberpuss. That fight was horrible, but you can now control the NPC, which is really nice. A new equipment slot for soul stones or mount capturing that, so you can still use your weapon, and some other small changes. But yeah, like I said, if you want to have a look at this, go check the link in the description below. I try to link as many stuff below as possible. Like I link the dev blogs, but I also try to link down the update videos that I did this year. Link in the description below. Check that out if you want more in-depth stuff on that. So if you have any questions regarding the updates that have happened in 2023, let me know in the comment section below. I try to answer you. And let's just see what 2024 will bring us. I do expect Unity to come out during like the end of the year and not the start of the year. So we will have to see and wait when that comes. But I don't expect many major changes before that. So let me know what you are looking forward in 2024. Are you a new player or a returning player when you're watching this video? Are you coming back to the game when the Unity drops? And yeah, a lot of more content coming to my channel in the upcoming weeks, months, and the entire year. I do not plan to go anywhere. I will stick with you guys, making a lot of content throughout 2024. I have so much planned that I don't even know where to start. But yeah, stay tuned for next video, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.